Wait, Final Fantasy VII is coming to War of the Visions? I feel like I heard about this somewhere, like 2 months ago. All right. What's up, guys? Chris here, and that's right, Final Fantasy VII Remake collaboration announced in JP. Of course, if you've been following the channel, no big deal, no surprise. We knew this was coming. Cloud and Tifa. Tifa will be free, and probably another unit or two to be named later. My money's on Barret and Aerith. Because this is a little ways off, we'll touch on this at the end of the video, as well as Lara Croft and the Tomb Raider collab that we know will be happening at some point, and then my money would be on Global getting swimsuit Kitone and swimsuit Lilyth at some point as well. I mention all of these things to say that there will be a degree of uncertainty to the schedule in this video, but there is still a lot that we know in the next 3 months to help free-to-play and light spenders prepare for the future. Quick monthly Achilles update as well. Over the last month, I've started some jumping and side-to-side leaping and stuff like that. I'm so close to that single leg calf raise, which is like the measurement to get cleared for doing almost anything else. Real quick, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who has left kind comments on the videos throughout the recovery. I've used these monthly planning guides in the War of the Visions videos as motivation to stick to rehab exercises and everything else. Anyway, enough talk. We have a lot to get to in this video, so I'll cast haste on this conversation to get things moving. As always, thank you to Bismarck and the folks over at WOTV Calc. Like, subscribe, and let's get after it. First things first, I want to quickly talk about a few top level strategies now that we've eclipsed the 1-year anniversary and EX jobs. The first thing is Visiore and new banners for free to play. Be careful and cautious moving forward. New units will cost more to max out now that we have 120 EX. Free to play, our number to save up from new units goes up from about 20 to 25,000 to around 35 to 40,000. And there's no indications, at least so far, that the Visiore income will be keeping up. So in year 1, I talked about only pulling for a unit every 2 to 3 months. This might even be 3 to 4 months now if the influx of free Visiore doesn't increase. This makes these planning guides and future focused thinking even more important if things don't change. Secondly, it can be tempting to want to EX a ton of units right out of the gate as free to play, but it does look like these moldy corns will be a significant gate moving forward. We also don't really have the extra Visiore to invest heavily into EX on original units. So my personal strategy is to slow farm EX for units like Frederica and Giza and not spend Visiore on their shards just when their EX comes out. Not saying you have to do this, but it's kind of my cautious approach until we understand more about the flow of Visiore, banners, and EX. Alright, we are in the middle of Final Fantasy X, and most of you have already made up your mind on Tidus, Yuna, Auron, and Bahamut. If you're wondering more about the banners and how to spend Visiore for this event, you can check out our anniversary weekly guide that we did. For new players, most of you have probably already done this, but it's a really good time to reroll your account until you get both Yuna and Bahamut. Those two, along with Tidus, will be a really good start for any account and might even be stronger than many existing players who have been playing for a while. You'll also have a UR Select ticket and a bunch of Select Shard tickets. Lock D, the PvP extraordinaire and Goodwill Hunting chalkboard solver, made a great video going over all of the best options, which I'll link in the description below. But the basic obvious choices are going to be Garval, Sakura, or Niv Lu. If you haven't used these tickets yet, wait until all of your free UR pulls are done and then pick your unit. There's definitely no hurry to using these tickets right away. Okay, moving on, we have the release of Omega Weapon and Scintilla Vision cards. Omega Weapon, obvious choice for Dark Slash teams, Dwayne, Endgame Stern, Paladin Kane. They all benefit from this card and Esper, especially to counter Yuna with this extra magic resistance and HP, Light Killer and more magic resist on the Esper. I think this Vision card is a must pull for those running the Dark Bros. It's a pass for everyone else. Now for Scintilla, I like this card for light slash units, but the light element is more magic focused just at the moment. I think there's some interesting things you can do with this card on units like Rob, Ramza, Cecil, and Elsorel. The problem is that it'd be difficult to bench other cards like Solidus or Scion of House Beowulf. Don't underestimate this vision card ability either. Auto hit and 240% multiplier is pretty scary for relatively low AP. However, this is pretty much just for Rob. You can also use it with Laswell and Auron. Ultimately, I think your account will have to be pretty focused on Rob or Ramza to justify the Visiore for this vision card. Next up, Nier, Automata and 9S. He is the free unit from this event. Given the concerns about Visiore and future collabs, I don't think he's a must build for free to play, but at a minimum, I would take him to level 99. If you have any combination of Nivlu, Frederica, or Orlando already maxed out, then I would consider 9S a must build to pair with these units. Super duper future planning, I think 120 EX Orlando next to a 129S is a pretty scary thought. 2B is a great unit, but unless you have either tools for evasion or wind units or both, it's a bit too much of a risky proposition for free to play. If we get a 9 step up with free shards like we've been getting for a lot of these events, free to play maybe go the first couple value steps and hope to pull her. If it doesn't happen after like 5 to 7,000 Visiore, you should probably just move on. If you don't have wind or evasion tools, as painful as it might be, I would pass. The Nier Vision card is an obvious pairing with 2B. This is why I recommend the skimpy approach on 2B, because you'll want enough Visiore to grab this Vision card as well. Outside of that, there's some intriguing implications for this card for Oldoa, Yerma, and Lucia, but it seems like more of a luxury than a necessity for these units for free-to-play players. I consider this a pass for pretty much everybody except those that get 2B. Next up is Mac Daddy himself, Mont. Premium units are so hard to recommend for free to play. It just takes such a huge investment. We're looking at 60 to 80,000 for King Mont. I've come back a little bit on my endorsement here just to say that maybe all players look at pulling on the value step ups on any step up banners that they offer. And if you're lucky, you can build them as much as you can. And if not, just take your free shards and hope to pull the Mac later since he isn't limited. I think the Mont Vision card here is an only if you pull King Mont situation for free to play. However, I do like this card for accounts that have Delita, Rain, and Raldor as well. Don't underestimate the value of this card for Winter Masherie. Those with a focus on mono fire should strongly consider this card, as the bonuses aren't limited to any specific attack type like Slash or Pierce or any specific unit jobs, so anyone who's not building up mono fire could probably pass on this card. Next, the Phoenix Vision card, pass for everybody except the Winter Masherie enthusiast. Some of you might complain that this is really good for Elda as well, and to you I say, are you seriously using Elda? I mean, really? Really? You're using Elda? Louelle is a really interesting unit, and I'm really glad I got to dive into her scholar job between now and the previous month's video, but I think she's a pass for everybody except for mono earth accounts. For mono earth, I think she's pretty much as close to a must-have unit as you could get. Tons of sustainability, buffs to allies' earth attacks, and utility. Louelle paired with any combination of Kilfei, Kitone, Halloween Ryu, Moraga, who will be coming down the road, or Summer Lilyth. I really do see Louelle as a linchpin for really strong mono earth teams. For anyone not interested in mono earth, she's probably a pass. Next up is the Evil Mont Camillo Vision card, which has fantastic artwork, by the way. Same story as Louelle, mono earth accounts should strongly consider, if not a must-have. Great general buffs like the Mont card, not specific to the attack type or jobs of your earth units, so everyone who's not into mono earth, you can probably pass this card up. If you're running mono earth, you should strongly consider. Now to No Strings Attached Helena, and again, I think we take the same approach as we do with the Mac Daddy. If you want her, do the value pulls on a step up if they're there, and if you get lucky, build her up or just quit. It's hard to endorse chasing any premium units for free to play because of the cost. Obviously a really dangerous unit here, but the double cost is definitely a deterrent. Carbuncle. This cute little guy. I'm really disappointed they didn't use this release to introduce a reflect mechanic in War of the Visions. Missed opportunity there. People might think this card is great for the Unahamet teams, but I actually like it more for like super tanky light slash teams. Warrior of Light, Engelbert, El Sorel. Pair this with Solidus and Scion of House Baal, then you have a ridiculously defensive team. Would be great for something like guild battles. There's just so many good vision cards and espers for light units by this point that this one's kind of like you just evaluate your account and see if you have room for this card in your team. Those not running mono light or that already have a lot of really good maxed out cards for their light team, you can probably pass. We will have a rerun of Final Fantasy 1 and 120 for Warrior of Light. I think he's a great unit, but also one that's easily replaceable with many of the other physical tanks. If you have him already, definitely get him to 120. If you don't, you probably already have another tank that can do some of the same stuff as Warrior of Light. Looking far into the future, we have to bring up the Final Fantasy VII collab now that we know that it's on the schedule. This will be roughly mid-July for global, which means you can save up about 60 to 70,000 Visiore between now and then if you pass on everything. No details on the kits yet for these units, but I do imagine Cloud will be like a Lightning Slash unit and Tiva Water Strike. The other two units are speculated to be Barret and Aerith. In addition, Lara Croft will come to War of the Visions at some point, which has been confirmed. No timetable for this release, but maybe after Final Fantasy VII, similar to how Final Fantasy X and Nier were. Lastly, I would almost guarantee that Summer Lilyth and Kitone get jammed in somewhere on global. My guess would be right before Final Fantasy VII in June, sometime between Camillo and Moore, just to try and squeeze people for Visiore right before Final Fantasy VII. Finally, let's take a look at the release schedule for EX on Year 1 units. I want to point out a couple of notable ones here. Gilgamesh will get his 120 in about a month, and is a super strong EX job, and for free to play with him maxed, you should start farming his memory spheres now in the guild barracks and hard quests. Frederica EX has also gotten a ton of praise in JP, so don't sleep on her EX release. And the last one is Dwayne at the end of June. Already one of the stronger units in the game, but his EX will jump him right back into the meta, even with all of the strong stuff that will be out by then. If you have Dwayne, drop him in the guild barracks now and prepare ahead of time. Anyway, that's it guys, a full look at the next couple months in War of the Visions Global. Let me know in the comments what you guys are looking forward to, and I mean, obviously Final Fantasy VII is going to get a lot of attention, and it really might have derailed my plans for 2B. We'll have to figure that one out. But anyway, we'll catch you guys next time.